If I could ask you now, for so many years, all the number of past years, why has Sri Lanka been having this high rate of suicides happening within the country? I mean, people could argue that our infrastructure has developed and people are living better lives and we are more connected than ever to everyone around us. But why do you think that this rate, this number, is not going down?
I don't think it has got anything to do with development, because I think in the rest of the world, even more developed countries, this situation prevails, because this is like an individual issue where you're unable to cope with the situation. So I think the best thing to do is actually from the young age get people geared to dealing with simple things and creating support systems around. I mean, families to sisters and brothers, friends, to be able to listen to others without judging them.
So it's more of something that is prevalent in our social structure, is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is the support system should be created in the social structure, so that you become, now I mean generally in our culture we have a very hierarchical social structure, no? There are things that a child would not discuss with the parents, but if that was not so, I mean, if you could talk about anything, any problem that you had with your mother or father, and I'm sure then you don't really have to bottle down things or try to find solutions by yourself. Now that kind of environment needs to be created in every home, and then maybe we will see the numbers decreasing in ideally future. I think that should be the solution, because you need to have that bonding, the friendliness, the openness in every house, so that people can talk about their issues and they don't get criticized, they don't get judged, but you're open to have like a open dialogue with your family and friends.
That's true. I think that what happens is when someone sees their friends or their loved one going through a hard time, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they tend to sort of ignore it, and hopefully denial will make it blow over. But that's not the case, is it? How important is it for the people around someone who are showing these sort of the symptoms of maybe being depressed or emotionally withdrawn? How important is it for everyone around him to then respond?
I think that's the only way that you can actually tell that person that you care, right? That you're there, whatever you're going through, we are there to share it with you, kind of emotion. That's what we would support them, because all of us have gone through difficult times, and it always helped when there was somebody to go that journey with you.
Of course.
I mean, it's not fun going through troubles all alone.
But let's when someone does call up the CCC hotline, are they ensured of complete anonymity? But what kind of information do you need to get from them to go further?
Yes, it is totally anonymous. They don't have to divulge their personal information. Like, we don't need to know their name, but we would ask them from where they're calling, their age group, simply because we need to maintain statistics, and all the details about that call is highly confidential. So there will be one counselor who will handle that call, and that sheet will be looked at by the counselor and the supervisor alone.
I see.
It's not available for public viewing, or we will not share it with anyone else. So it's relatively sacred, and it's very confidential.
I see. And are there specific geographical locations where you see a higher concentration of calls coming in?
Western province still is the largest contributor to our calls.
Is it?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not being judgmental or anything, but I would say that maybe the rural provinces would have
not so
higher
much
prevalence.
I think in the rural areas, this is my personal opinion, I think the life is simpler. Right? They don't. They have very much less stress levels than the urban dweller, because you are trying to balance so many things, and in the process, there may be little things that kind of tick you off.
But what can you do to really make your life simpler? Now, I'm not talking about a medical prescription or anything like that, but how can people, de-simplify their lives and lead lives where you have less mental stress going on all the time, where you feel fed up at the end of the day, not happy?
A lot to do with how you actually approach everything. It's like you need to be organized, you need to be calm and not get agitated. So I suppose meditation helps, and being in touch with your spirituality, whatever religion you are, always gives you that peace of mind, the ability to cope with even dense situations most times. So it's a lot of self-control that you need to develop.
Yes, yeah, it's something that's very hard to come by, I think, during the hectic lifestyle that we lead, but it's something that's very important.
Yeah, exactly. And I think parents need to instill that into children. You need to start learning this in like early stages of life, how to cope with life, because it's not just to get like carried away, caught up, because otherwise I mean.
And what kind of role does an institution, like maybe a religious institution or a school, play in this development of this child to make sure that they sort of cope with these?
I would think it is they play a significant role, but unfortunately I think the important is downplayed, because now if you look around, this whole focus on kind of getting exemplary gradings and studies and following classes and trying to be academically and otherwise the best person, you tend to give up or neglect some of the most important things in life.
I guess that is the way you should de-simplify things, right? You should really
exactly.
let go of sort of the materialistic things that people hold on to.
Lot to do with I mean how we have evolved. Probably it's time for all of us to kind of take a step back and really look at our own lives and see, is this what we should be doing?
All right, so going back to your organization now, if someone does know of anyone who is undergoing all of these symptoms that we spoke about, or also they themselves would like to contact you, and not just about big problems, but even about little problems, anything, they can contact you about anything, right?
They can contact us about anything, simply anything. All they have to do is dial 1-333, just 4 digits. It's very easy to remember, and we operate from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the night. It operates on 3 shifts and 365 days. So there will be somebody on the other end of the phone waiting to listen to you, will listen to your problems and help you go through that issue systematically, so that at the end of the call, 99% of the time the caller has a solution for themselves.
I see. But let's say there is some point where you feel that this person may need someone else intervening and stopping this, whatever is going to happen at the other end of the line that needs to be stopped. So do you have connections where you sort of call in special interventions?
In cause of suicide, yes. That's the only time that we would actually reveal an identity.
I see.
Right.
Okay.
But on the answer to your question is, there are also other times that people do need more than phone counseling. They may need to talk to somebody one-on-one. So we have a referral database which is extensive, and it covers national national scenario. So we would identify from where they are calling and give them a referral point closer to where they are staying.
I see.
So that they can always get easy support.
So it is something that really is very cohesive, and when you call one number, you really do have all of these options. But let's talk about what you do when someone really needs to speak to maybe a medical professional or anything of that sort.
Now on the phone line, our counselors are not doctors, so we will then refer them to a medical professional. We have some medical professionals who work with us, but if it's from outstation, we would also put them in touch with the closest place to suit their need.
I see. So CCC Foundation is doing a great task here in Sri Lanka. So thank you so much, Tusita, for being with us and really sharing what you are doing here, because it is a volunteer-based organization.
Totally.
So it's great to have you here this morning, and thank you for bringing awareness to our show on Good Morning Sri Lanka. And we hope that you really understood what is happening here in Sri Lanka as well, and the different methods for you to reach out, whether it be your friend or your loved one or even yourself. If you need to reach out to anyone, there's always options here. So be safe and be happy knowing that there are always people to help you out. It's been a great episode here on Good Morning Sri Lanka, but I'm afraid I have to leave you now. But before I go, I'll remind you to like us on Facebook. That's www.facebook.com/Good Morning Sri Lanka. Alright, then have a great morning, and I'll see you tomorrow.